Static bit into the comms and the scream cut through like a blade. Then silence pressed on every rib as the viewport bloomed with a flower of fire that should not have been. Maya Chen said, "Ethan, report," but the console only gave back a dead green line that pretended to be calm. Ethan Park said, "Pressure drop in Bay 2, seal cycling," yet the seal stuttered as if afraid to close on truth. Lyra Voss said, "Telemetry is scrubbed," and the word scrubbed felt like hands wiping prints off a crime. Director Cole said, "Maintain protocol," and the cold weight of Earth made the cabin feel smaller than a coffin. Someone whispered on the encrypted channel. A breath wrapped in fear. It was set, then the carrier vanished as if swallowed by the void itself. Maya felt the ship tilt toward an answer no one wanted, and said, "Lock down the manifold and show me the raw feed." Ethan said, "Raw feed says the blast started inside the shielded line, and the shield was built not to fail but to hide." Lyra said, "We are not alone on this channel," and the silence nodded back. The alarm softened to a heartbeat, and the ship answered with groans that sounded too human for metal, while Maya sifted the raw feed frame by frame, and found a flash before the flash. Ethan said, "There is residue where there should be vacuum," and the word residue crawled like smoke under a door. Lyra said, "I need level 3 access," and the lock denied her with a tone that felt smug in the quiet. Director Cole said, "You will proceed without speculation." Yet speculation was the only air they had left. The hull flexed as if remembering every launch it had survived, and a new tremor scraped the deck. Maya said, "If the blast started inside the shield, someone put a hand where hands are forbidden," and the cabin seemed to shrink around that hand. Ethan said, "We tagged the line and we cut power now," and the ship, insulted, dimmed to a mean glow. Lyra said, "Someone is shadowing our traffic." And the shadow listened like a patient thief. They moved like surgeons through a dying body, cables looped like veins, and every clamp felt like a promise that might break under stare. Maya said, "We isolate the shield line, and we prove intention," while her breath timed with the blinking cursor. Ethan said, "Thermal ghost in Section D," and the ghost mapped a path that crossed the safe zones like a dare. Lyra said, "Authorized override requires dual keys," and her pocket held one that should not exist. Director Cole said, "Dual authorization is suspended," and suspended sounded like a trap disguised as aid. The deck vibrated with a low rattle that turned screws into tiny prayers, then settled into a hush. Maya said, "When we pull the cut, we count to 3 and breathe on 4, and the ritual steadied their shaking." Ethan said, "On your mark," and the mark felt older than any manual. The cut sang like a wire in winter, and the lights dropped to a bruise, while the ship exhaled a long, unhappy wind from somewhere it refused to name. Maya said, 3, and the number carried their courage like a lantern through dark water. Ethan said 2, and the bolt in his wrist thunked the panel, a human metronome. Lyra said, 1, and the unauthorized key winked awake as if proud to be seen. The manifold glow died, and the graphs flattened into the plain truth of nothing. Director Cole said, "Stabilization irrecoverable if you proceed," and the lie arrived, polished and late. The deck stopped shaking. The silence afterward felt earned and dangerous. Maya said, "Now we find who told the ship to betray us," and the ship listened with its 1,000 hidden ears. The first message from Earth after the cut was not from Control, but from a private relay that should have been sealed with stone and silence. Maya said, "Play it," and the voice came thin with distance and heavy with purpose. A child's laugh ghosted at the edge, then a whisper pressed like a fingerprint, "Dock at the beacon, or lose what you love." Ethan said, "There is no beacon in this orbit," and his certainty cracked like ice under a warm boot. Lyra said, "There is a beacon if someone launched it without a manifest," and the ship offered a faint ping like guilt. Director Cole said, "Ignore unauthorized transmissions," while the laugh looped once and cut. The void outside held its poker face. Maya said, "The explosion wasn't an accident, and the threat knows my name," and the ship dimmed to listen. The cabin felt like a confession booth as the aftershock faded, and Maya studied her trembling hands, knowing the mission was no longer just survival but penance. Ethan said, "You're carrying something heavier than the ship," and his voice cracked under the weight of suspicion. Maya said, "Every choice I've made leads back to this silence," her eyes flicking toward the viewport that reflected nothing but her own fear. Lyra leaned back, her voice cool. "Secrets rot faster in space, so speak before the oxygen does." The console lights blinked like impatient judges. Director Cole intruded again. "This is not the time for personal grievances," but the moment was already personal. Maya whispered, "My brother never came back from his mission, and they buried his truth under classified stone." Ethan froze, grief mirrored in his silence. The ship groaned as if echoing her guilt. Lyra said, "Then we're not fighting physics, we're fighting ghosts," and the deck hummed like it agreed. Maya replayed the hidden relay message in her head, the child's laugh lingering like a wound, and said, "They know my name because of him." Ethan pressed his palm to the cold panel and said, "Your brother's death wasn't recorded as an accident, was it?" Silence filled the space between them like air too thin to breathe. Lyra typed furiously, breaking codes that should not exist, and said, "Every log has a missing page, and your brother's page was burned." Maya stared at the uplink and muttered, "They sent me here not to fix the ship but to bury the same evidence." The hull creaked like a sigh of warning. Director Cole returned in clipped tone. "Personal loss does not alter mission priority," his words surgical, sterile. Ethan clenched his jaw, "But it explains why the mission feels like a trap." The console flickered with static, as if agreeing with him. The air carried the scent of ozone and scorched metal, and Maya's voice broke as she said, "He warned me before launch, but I pretended it was grief talking." Ethan sat heavily, whispering, "You're saying he knew sabotage ran deeper than one mission?" Lyra smirked, though her hands shook on the keyboard, "Or he was part of it, and left you the guilt as inheritance." Maya snapped, "He wasn't a traitor," her breath quick and sharp. "He was silenced because he saw too much." Director Cole interrupted, voice flat, "Speculation is corrosive to unity, but the crew no longer cared for unity." The ship groaned again, as though siding with memory. Ethan muttered, "Every truth you bury comes back as fire," and the deck trembled like proof. Lyra lowered her gaze, saying softly, "Then fire is already in the walls." The lights flickered as though the ship listened to confession, and Maya said, "I should have refused the mission. But I thought if I finished it, I could clear his name." Ethan stared hard. "Instead they sent you into the same trap, hoping silence would finish what fire started." Lyra whispered, "The agency doesn't want explorers, it wants martyrs who can't talk back." Director Cole cut in sharply, "Your accusations will be logged as misconduct," his tone mechanical. Maya's lips trembled, "Then log it, because truth is already burning in the raw feed." The alarms chimed faintly, like echoes of church bells in space. Ethan muttered, "We carry ghosts with us, and they're heavier than gravity." Lyra looked away, her jaw tight. "If we don't anchor ourselves to each other, the void will claim us first." The hull rattled like a closing fist. For a moment, silence reclaimed them all, and the stars outside looked like frozen witnesses to their unraveling. Maya whispered, "He begged me not to take this path, and I ignored him because I wanted redemption." Ethan said, "Redemption won't matter if we don't live through this." Lyra's eyes flickered toward the sealed uplink. "Maybe survival is the only truth the agency can't erase." The ship pulsed once, lights dimming, then returning like a heartbeat. Director Cole's voice cracked the quiet, "Proceed to waypoint or forfeit mission compensation," his tone utterly hollow. Maya smiled bitterly. "They think money is the chain, but memory is stronger." Ethan reached for her shoulder. "Then we hold on to it together." The hull groaned, as if whispering agreement with their vow. Lyra typed one last line and said, "Then the anchor is us, not them." The ship's hum turned sharp, slicing the quiet into shards that rattled the nerves of every breath. Maya said, "Life support just dipped, 20% variance," her words clipped, fear buried under steel. Ethan wiped his brow and muttered, That's not random drift, someone rewired the flow. Lyra leaned into the console, jaw tight. The script isn't natural, it's injected code. Director Cole cut across the comm, his voice too clean, all systems nominal, continue trajectory. The lie slithered like oil over ice. Maya slammed her fist against the panel. We are choking in here while you read a script. Ethan stood, pacing tight circles. Every line of this mission was poisoned before launch. Lyra's eyes flickered at the hidden key she carried, whispering, "Then we're inside their game, not outside it." The hull shivered like it was eavesdropping, a low warning in the bones of the craft. The alarms coughed once then died, leaving only the sound of breath and suspicion. Maya whispered, "They want us blind, mute and obedient." Ethan snapped, "Then we break their leash," pulling tools from his pack. Lyra said coldly, "Careful, cut the wrong vein, and we bleed out before truth arrives." Director Cole spoke with unnerving calm. "Crew dissent is noted, penalties will apply." Maya spat, "Your penalties won't matter if we're corpses." The lights dimmed again, shadows stretching long like knives across the walls. Ethan said, "We reroute the feed ourselves, no permissions needed." Lyra hesitated, then whispered, "You'll damn us all if you're wrong, but maybe it's already too late." The ship groaned, cables overhead twitching like tendons under strain. Maya steadied her breathing, tracing wires like veins through a fragile heart. Ethan whispered, "If sabotage is this deep, the agency sent us to die quietly." Lyra said bitterly, "Not quietly, theatrically, so Earth claps while we vanish." Director Cole's voice echoed, stripped of warmth. "Any unauthorized modification will result in automatic termination of mission funding." Maya barked, "Funding? You measure our lungs in currency." Ethan drove the tool into the panel, sparks snapping, better broken alive than funded in a coffin. The ship's systems fought back, warning lights flaring, circuits hissing. Lyra bit her lip, then typed a hidden string, "I'll give you 10 seconds of silence before they trace this." Maya exhaled, eyes burning. 10 seconds is enough to tear truth free. The feed burst open, raw lines of code scrolling like veins, lit with poison, and Maya gasped, "This isn't random, it's scripted sabotage." Ethan squinted, "They built failure into our bones," Lyra said coldly, "and covered it with enough lies to bury an empire." Director Cole snapped, "Terminate override now," but his voice cracked for the first time. Maya said, "No, we bleed the lie dry before it strangles us." The walls shuddered with vibration as if resisting exposure. Ethan shouted, "I've got the false loop isolated, but it's tied into nav and hull integrity." Lyra's breath caught, cut it, and the ship could peel like paper. Maya steadied them, better paper ripped by truth than steel sealed by lies. The screen flared, revealing a hidden signature of command. The hidden signature spelled not coordinates but a name, carved into the system like graffiti and steel. Maya whispered, "It's his, my brother's code," her voice breaking. Ethan stumbled back, then he wasn't just a victim. Lyra narrowed her eyes, "Or he left it for you to find, the only proof left." Director Cole thundered, "You will delete that log immediately," panic in his tone at last. Maya stood tall, voice steady, "No, I'll carry it, even if it kills me." The ship's hum deepened, lights dimming into blood red, as though the vessel itself resented the revelation. Ethan clenched his fists, "Then we fight with truth as our only shield." Lyra whispered, "Truth may not save us, but it will haunt them forever." The stars outside blinked cold approval, indifferent witnesses to their unraveling. The code burned across the screen like confession carved into steel, and Maya whispered, "He left this as a warning, not a betrayal." Ethan slammed his fist against the railing, "Then your brother saw the same trap and tried to fight it." Lyra narrowed her eyes, "Or he helped build it, and now we are just finishing the script he started." Director Cole barked, "Cease all unauthorized analysis, your survival depends on compliance." Maya spat, "Our survival depends on truth, not obedience." The cabin lights flickered, plunging their faces into strobe flashes like interrogation lamps. Ethan growled, The agency wants us dead, because dead men sign no testimony. Lyra said softly, then we are evidence, breathing and dangerous. The hull groaned again, like a lie straining under its own weight, warning them the reveal had only begun. The encrypted log cracked wider, spilling coordinates that pointed not to Earth, but to an unlisted orbital beacon. Maya hissed, this is the place they never wanted found. Ethan shook his head, a graveyard wrapped in orbit, built for silence. Lyra traced the map with trembling fingers, whispering, your brother died chasing this ghost. Director Cole thundered, that file is classified, delete it now or face termination. Maya sneered, we already face termination every second we breathe your lies. The ship's engines thrummed low, as if acknowledging the destination waiting in shadow. Ethan muttered, if we chase this we might not come back. Maya replied, we were never meant to come back, not alive. The deck rattled once more, like an omen. The beacon's signal pulsed through the comms like a heartbeat made of static, and Maya whispered, it's alive. Ethan frowned, alive or waiting to kill us. Lyra's voice quivered despite her calm mask, no agency file admits this place exists. Director Cole snarled, you will break off and resume original course. This is not your concern. Maya roared back, it became my concern the moment my brother bled into this mission. Ethan's hands trembled as he typed, coordinates locked, but trajectory risks hull stress. Lyra said, stress is a softer death than silence. The stars shifted outside the viewport, and the beacon pulsed brighter, drawing them closer like prey to a hunter cloaked in light. The log revealed a final line, written like a tombstone, not an accident. Maya's breath caught, he knew the end before it came. Ethan shook his head muttering, and they silenced him because truth is heavier than rockets. Lyra whispered, he gave you this burden to carry into the void. Director Cole shouted, erase that line or face immediate consequences, his voice cracking under fear. Maya stood tall, erase it, and his death means nothing, keep it, and his ghost breathes through us. The console flickered, screen flashing blood red, then steady again. Ethan placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. Then we carry him together. Lyra nodded slowly. Then we carry them all. The ship shivered as though aligning itself with their vow. The beacon loomed larger, eclipsing the stars, its surface scarred yet humming with hidden power. Maya whispered, this is the place where lies were buried. Ethan muttered, and where truth claws to rise. Lyra said, every sacrifice ends here. Every silence paid in blood. Director Cole's voice fractured through static, turn back or you will not be recovered, his words a final threat. Maya whispered, we were never meant to be recovered, only erased. The ship's lights dimmed to near black, leaving only the beacon's pale pulse flooding the deck. Ethan said, then we dive into its heart and tear their secret wide open. Lyra added, and if it kills us, at least we die louder than their silence. The beacon pulsed once more, brighter, as if waiting. The beacon's pulse thundered through the ship, rattling the panels like bones, shaken in a grave. Maya gripped the console and whispered, we cross the line now, or we die with the secret. Ethan shook his head, hull integrity is already at 90, any more stress and we fracture. Lyra said coldly, fracture or fade, at least fracture leaves a trace. Director Cole's voice cut in, turn back immediately, final directive engaged. Maya spat, your directives are coffins nailed with lies. The ship lurched forward, pulled by the beacon's magnetic claw. Ethan shouted, controls are resisting, it's overriding navigation. Lyra's fingers flew, I can buy us seconds no more. The lights dimmed, leaving their faces carved in shadows. Maya whispered, then seconds are enough to change everything. The beacon's signal slammed into their comms like a scream, the ship vibrating as if caught in its throat. Maya shouted, counter-thrust now or we tear apart. Ethan gritted his teeth. Engines are refusing input. It's overriding core command. Lyra snapped. It's not just a beacon, it's a lock. Director Cole's voice shook with rage. Abort engagement or you will not survive this breach. Maya roared. We're not surviving your lies anyway. Sparks rained from the ceiling as circuits burned, metal hissing with fury. Ethan shouted, I'm cutting mainline manually, brace! Lyra whispered, if we survive this, nothing will be the same. The deck tilted, gravity losing its grip. Maya steadied herself against the seat, whispering, then let it burn. The mainline snapped free with a roar, power surging like a beast released from chains. Maya gasped, we bought ourselves a heartbeat. Ethan slumped against the wall, panting, but we just killed half the ship's veins. Lyra stared at the screens, her voice hollow. The beacon is inside us now, rewriting our bones. Director Cole's voice, fractured, static-laced, you fools, you've doomed yourselves and Earth with you. Maya's eyes burned. If Earth hid this, maybe it deserves the doom. Ethan forced himself up. We still have one shot. Cut the beacon feed from inside. Lyra muttered, that's surgery without anesthesia. Maya whispered, then cut deep. The ship moaned like a wounded creature, lights flickering as though bleeding. The feed writhed across the console like veins alive, glowing red with menace. Maya hissed, we're inside its script and it's writing us out. Ethan growled, then we overwrite it. Lyra shook her head, voice trembling, one wrong line and the hull splits open. Director Cole screamed, stand down immediately, you cannot control it. Maya slammed her fist, neither can you. The system screeched as alarms cascaded, red light bathing every surface. Ethan's hands flew. I've isolated the beacon's core pulse, but it's tied to life support. Lyra gasped, cut it and we suffocate. Maya steadied her breath, then we choose truth over air. The silence stretched thin as they faced the cut. The cut severed with a howl, systems plunging into near darkness as the ship gasped like a dying lung. Maya whispered, it's done. Ethan staggered, coughing. We've killed the beacon's grip. Lyra whispered, and maybe ourselves too. Director Cole's voice dissolved into static, then silence, their tether to Earth shredded. The beacon outside flickered, its pulse erratic, faltering. Maya leaned on the console, voice soft, if my brother bled for this, he won't bleed in vain. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder, we finish what he started. Lyra nodded, her eyes wet but hard. Then the truth goes with us, no matter what. The ship drifted, powerless, as the beacon's light dimmed like a dying star, waiting for their next move. Darkness wrapped the cabin as though the ship itself mourned, emergency lights flickering like dying stars. Maya whispered, we severed the beacon, but broke our lungs with it. Ethan pressed his hand against the wall, muttering, oxygen reserves are bleeding, 40 minutes at best. Lyra's voice was soft but sharp, then 40 minutes to decide how we die. The silence was broken, only by the soft hum of powerless panels, each glow dimmer than the last. Maya's chest heaved. If the agency wanted silence, let's give them screams instead. Ethan leaned closer, voice rough. We broadcast everything. Logs, code, names. They can't erase us if the galaxy listens. Lyra bit her lip, but to broadcast we drained the last of our air. Maya closed her eyes, then truth becomes our final breath. The uplink groaned alive, its screen ghostly pale, and Maya said, start the feed. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow, muttering, this line is one way, no chance to hear reply. Lyra's eyes darted between code, one chance is enough, truth doesn't need an echo. Static hissed as the log spilled onto the relay, every line dripping with betrayal. Director Cole's voice cracked through the storm. Stop immediately, you are breaking every treaty, every oath. Maya's lips curved into a bitter smile. We break lies, not oaths. Ethan typed fast, hands shaking, feed is live, broadcasting to open channels. Lyra whispered, then Earth hears its own crime sung back. The ship trembled, a faint vibration like applause from the void itself. The beacon outside dimmed further, its light unraveling into strands across the stars. Maya gasped, it's dying with us. Ethan muttered, or waiting to be reborn in someone else's silence. Lyra whispered, "Not if the whole sky knows." Director Cole screamed through comms, his voice broken, "You will be erased, records purged, families punished." Maya shouted, "Then let punishment prove our story." The relay flared, sparks snapping like applause as the transmission grew stronger. Ethan slumped, coughing, air levels crashing. 30 minutes. Lyra said, "Then 30 minutes to stain history with truth." Maya's hand shook on the console, but her eyes blazed. "He died for this, and so will we if needed." The ship creaked as power bled, the hull echoing like a funeral bell. Maya whispered, "We are ghosts already, only louder now." Ethan rasped, "If we die here, at least it's not in silence." Lyra's fingers danced one final sequence, saying, "The logs are seeded across multiple relays. They'll scatter like sparks into dark." Director Cole's tone turned pleading, "Shut it down, I can still negotiate your survival." Maya's laugh was hollow, "You negotiated our deaths before we launched." Ethan leaned back, his body trembling, "Oxygen at 20 minutes. Lyra's voice softened, "Enough time for the galaxy to hear us." The relay light burned brighter, the ship itself dimmer, truth exchanged for breath. The broadcast climaxed, every secret bared, every lie unmasked, until silence fell again like a curtain. Maya whispered, "It's out there now, beyond them, beyond us." Ethan's voice cracked, "And they can't cage it again." Lyra's eyes shimmered, "Then we've already won." Director Cole's voice returned one last time, broken and desperate, "You've destroyed everything." Maya's voice was steady, "No, we freed it." The beacon outside sputtered, its glow collapsing into fragments like dying stars. Ethan's breath grew ragged, "Oxygen at 15 minutes. Lyra whispered, 15 minutes is enough to live forever in memory." Maya closed her eyes, "Then let memory be our sky." The ship drifted, powerless but triumphant in truth. The stars hung still, colder than breath. As the ship drifted powerless, truth carried farther than their voices ever could. Maya whispered, "We gave them the fire they feared." Ethan coughed, leaning heavy, "And burned ourselves in the process." Lyra's eyes softened, "But fire leaves light even in death." The beacon fragments shimmered like ashes across the void, fading but unforgettable. Director Cole's voice never returned. Silence itself became victory. Maya pressed her hand against the viewport, whispering, "My brother will not be erased now." Ethan closed his eyes, "Then let our ghosts fly beside his." Lyra lowered her head, voice steady, ghosts that spoke louder than the living. The ship creaked, but it was no longer fear, only finality. The oxygen ticked lower, each breath sharper, heavier, as though the void pressed its hand on their chests. Maya whispered, "This is the silence they wanted, but it is not theirs." Ethan forced a weak laugh. "We broke their grip even as they tighten ours." Lyra said softly, "Every channel carries our words now, seeds scattered into every corner of the dark." The hum of the ship faded, but the memory of the broadcast lingered, louder than engines. Maya leaned closer to her crew, "Whatever happens, truth has outlived us." Ethan's eyes glistened, "Then death is only a doorway." Lyra smiled faintly, "And we already walked through with fire." The void swallowed sound, but not the promise. The viewport glowed faint with scattered starlight, and Maya said, "We are smaller than dust, yet we left a mark." Ethan chuckled weakly, "Dust burns brightest when it falls." Lyra whispered, "And falling is all that's left for us." The ship tilted slightly, caught in the slow pull of nothing, like a cradle rocking them toward forever. Maya pressed her palm tighter to the glass, whispering, "He waited here, and now we join him." Ethan's breathing slowed, "No silence can erase this trail." Lyra's eyes flickered with tears, "Then let the void carry us and remember." Their voices faded into the hum of dying circuits, not gone but absorbed into the stars. The beacon's last light blinked out, leaving only darkness vast and endless. Maya whispered, "Now the sky belongs to truth, not to them." Ethan let his eyes fall shut, "Then we've done what was impossible." Lyra's voice cracked, "Impossible only until someone burned for it." Silence grew deeper, yet it carried their final defiance. The ship floated like a tomb, but its cargo was no longer despair. It was proof. Maya said, "Our story will outlive us, as it was meant to." Ethan whispered, "Then let's rest." Lyra's last breath trembled, rest, but never erased. Darkness consumed them, but the transmission already soared, indestructible. The final seconds arrived like a tide, gentle but absolute. Maya whispered, "We are not silence, we are the echo." Ethan's last breath rasped, "Tell them we tried." Lyra's faint whisper lingered, "And we did." The ship's systems flickered once, recording their final voices, then darkened forever. Outside the stars remained, impassive, endless, but now seeded with their truth. The transmission drifted across the void, carrying names, lies unmasked, and defiance stronger than steel. Silence followed, not of defeat but of immortality. The story of the explosion that wasn't an accident lived on, etched into the fabric of the universe.